class. In this video we are going to be making our line art in Adobe Animate and creating it right on top of our sketched line art that we scanned in. So the first thing I'm noticing is that my frames per second were off. It was set to 30, so if that ever happens to you, go to Modify and your document settings. Then I'm going to make a new layer by clicking on the little plus sign and renaming it. I'm going to click in that layer, and just so I can see these better, I'm going to use the mountains slider. And I'm going to select all the frames on this layer, right click, convert to frame by frame animation, and key every other frame. So this is just going to set it up so I have a bunch of blank keyframes already done for me, and I can just get to sketching and then move over. So I have nothing else to worry about. Alright, so now that I'm here, I can grab my brush tool or my fluid brush tool and get started sketching. So one thing that you do want to adjust before you get sketching is your line width. So that's under your properties menu. I have the workspace set to small screen, but you can change it to basic and that properties menu will be there. You'll have to go back and select that the fluid brush tool again. And here you can adjust your size. You can also use the brackets up and down key to see how to just change the size of your lines. And then once you're pretty happy with that, just give it a go and draw your first line. Alright, so you definitely want to try to improve upon your original line work now that you can use your onion skinning. So that's that little button there. In the middle, and try and be a little more consistent with the size of your sphere, and try and draw a little more cleanly than at least my pencil sketches. If you see any irregular shapes going on, definitely try and adjust there. Remember that you can press spacebar to activate the hand tool and move your canvas about. And then just remember you want a little bit of stretch before your ball hits the ground. And then you can see for mine, my squash is a little bit too far to the left, so I'm just going to try it again and draw it a little more to the right. I'm also giving it more of a flat squash. Again, there's a stretch as the ball leaves the ground. And then it regains form really quickly afterwards. So just a single frame after that stretch, it goes back to its normal shape. Alright, a squash. And then I realized here that I have two stretches right before it hits the ground. So there must be some sort of extra frame. So I'm just going to go to my layers panel and delete those extra ones by right clicking and removing frames. And that'll tighten that up too. You always have to work on the correct layers, so make sure that you select back into the correct layer. And then keep going with your drawing. So mine are a little rough, of course, but do your best with this. Once your ball is in motion, you're going to feel more about the motion than the actual see the line work. Alright, and so for these final frames for the roll, I realized too in my original line work that I feel like it went backwards at one point, so I'm going to try and correct that here with my line work. So here's where that onion skinning is really going to help. There we go. And definitely I could do a little better job with the shape on these, but that's alright. It gives it character. And then here I am trying to figure out where the next position is. Here we go. Next one, and finish. So for this exercise, I do want you to add a draw line for the ground. And we can do that in a separate layer. I'm just going to remove any extra frames at the end here. Add a new layer, call it grounds. And for this, I think my ground line changed over time, so I'm going to go with the position in the last frame because it's held the longest, and I think that's the most important. So if you hold down shift while you're drawing this line, it will actually draw it nice and straight for you, so that's a really good tip. And then finally, if you draw yours in a later frame, you can click and drag on that frame to the beginning of your animation. All right, and there you go. That is my bouncing ball line art. You can also add color if you would like, then animate it or export it as an animated GIF and upload it to Canvas as exercise 1.2. Thanks, class.